We have a great subreddit with nearly 35,000 of our viewers and listeners subscribed for free. You can join the discussion at davidpakman.com/Reddit. That's REDDIT. A few interesting posts I spotted this morning that I wanted to discuss with you today. One asks, who can win in 2024? David, sir, if you read this, I'd like your take despite it being too early. I just don't see Biden running in 2024. He'll be in his 80s. And I think the next 3 years will affect him far more than past presidents. Harris may be the presumptive nominee, but she seems like a weak candidate versus Trump or DeSantis. So who would be a strong candidate in 2024? Give $5 a month to voter registration and outreach programs today, folks. Yeah, this is, listen, that's the analysis I made about 2 months ago. And I said, we're not yet ready to really talk about this in detail because there are so many unknowns. Who will be the Republican nominee? Is Joe Biden running for reelection? If not, is Kamala Harris the presumptive nominee? But I've said before, most who wrote to me about it agreed, although a few people were kind of upset with me. I see, if it's Trump as the nominee in 2024, I see a Joe Biden who will have been attacked for 4 years and will be in his 80s at that point as having a tough time beating Trump a second time. If it's not Joe Biden and it's Kamala Harris, I see Kamala Harris, who remains not particularly popular today, but there's still a lot of time to go. I see Kamala Harris having a very tough time against Donald Trump. And then if it's not Trump and it's right now based on polling, Ron DeSantis would be the most prominent name, although it's very early. And this is why it's tough to talk about it. I see Ron DeSantis as a more competent version of Trump, who also has a totally plausible chance of defeating someone like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Being from Florida could help him with the state of Florida as well. So I share the concern. I don't have answers. I'm asking all the same questions as this viewer. I'm coming to, so far, more or less the same conclusions. And I don't have the answers, but maybe people in the audience do. Another post I spotted asks, would you support something similar to a vaccine passport, but for antibodies? Seems like this would be something the left and right could compromise on, but I don't hear it being proposed from the left. I'm wondering if there are arguments against it or if people are even against it. So I guess the question is, if you could prove you have antibodies to the coronavirus, should that count as being vaccinated anywhere that you need to be vaccinated if you have antibodies? And it's very complicated. There's two primary problems, I think. One is antibodies as measured by typical blood tests measure only one type of antibody, and it's only one element of immunity. We still don't know, how does that number relate to your level of protection and ability to spread versus other types of antibodies and potential immunity. So that's part one. Part two, there's less consistency about natural antibodies and how long they last. We don't know, if you're more sick, do you develop more antibodies when you recover? All these types of things are still being explored. And so while there's still variability in terms of antibody development with vaccines, there's more known and it's more uniform and more consistent, and the decay appears to be more predictable. So I think those are sort of like the two main issues with saying we should have an antibody passport, just like we do a vaccine passport. Also, it's significantly more expensive to test for antibodies. And it also is much more involved than simply to go, you get a vaccine, it's free to the end user. Who would pay for, different people have different blood test coverage through insurance. It starts to get quite complicated. Last thing. This is a very interesting article that was posted. All of the discussion of the worker shortage that we've been seeing. It's important to know that since March of 2020, the U.S. has issued 1.2 million fewer visas to work eligible foreigners. So a lot of the right wingers, and by the way, this report is from the Cato Institute, not exactly a left wing publication. One of the reasons right wingers are saying, oh, it's Pete Buttigieg's fault, it's Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden is the Grinch who stole Christmas because of the supply chain issues and all this stuff. We already know the supply chain issues were an issue in 2020. Nobody was blaming Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao back then. Nobody was really blaming Trump for that. Now they're blaming Biden and Buttigieg. But the other issue is the U.S. has issued far fewer work eligible foreigner visas since March of 2020, partially under the guise of the pandemic. Yes, that is a big factor because the U.S. counts on that labor. And it's not being discussed at all. And it should be that is something right wingers may not even know about or may be glad about because they say these people are stealing our jobs, et cetera. Well, that's part of why we're having these supply chain and labor resource issues right now. Join the discussion at davidpakman.com/Reddit.